When Senator Clinton says this is Mr. Bush's war, that this is President Bush's war, when President Clinton was in power, I didn't say that Bosnia, our intervention there, was President Clinton's war. When we intervened in Kosovo, I didn't say it was President Clinton's war. What Senator Clinton doesn't understand, that presidents don't lose wars, political parties don't lose wars, nations lose wars.
During the debate the other night, the Democrats seem to be back in the 1990s. They don't seem to have gotten beyond the Cold War. Iran is a threat, a nuclear threat, not just because they can deliver a nuclear warhead with missiles. They're a nuclear threat because they are the biggest state sponsor of terrorism, and they can hand nuclear materials to terrorists.
A couple of samples from the comments made last night in that Republican debate in New Hampshire from the two candidates who most of the morning after commentary seemed to think it had particularly good nights. Some thoughts on all this now from Fred Barnes, executive editor of the Weekly Standard, Mara Lass, a national political correspondent of National Public Radio, and Mort Kondracki, executive editor of Roll Call, Fox News contributors all. Well, what about it? Fred?
Well, I thought you picked out the two guys who did the best. McCain later in the 2-hour debate, in the second half when they were sitting in chairs, you know, to get up and answer a question by a very lovely young woman whose brother had been killed in Iraq, and she asked whether he had died in vain, and whether there was, you know, they were going to find a way to win and get the troops home. And he got out of his chair and he walked up to the edge of the audience and looked at her right in the eyes and gave this really compelling, strong answer. It was the best moment in the thing. And look, John McCain needed a good debate. There have been 3 now, and this is the one he was really good in, no question about it. I mean, they're not winners and losers here, but McCain looked good. And Giuliani, you know, he's been leapfrogging the rest of the Republican candidates by going after Democrats in a very, very effective way. You had McCain doing it as well, but it's mainly been Giuliani who's done that. He is really good in this format, I'll have to say. You wouldn't think one guy can stand out, you know, with 9 other candidates there, but he does. He's really mastered it, and so for that reason, the other thing I wanted to say about Rudy was, notice how he has now answers the abortion question without raising more questions than he answers. He's done it very well.
Of course, he had the moment when the lightning knocked the lights down, and he made a joke out of that.
Yeah, that was about the criticism from the Catholic bishop in Rhode Island. But he's mainly speaking now. He's the guy. National security is his issue.
Well, what's interesting is he is free to attack the Democrats because even as the front runner, nobody seems to be going after him. Usually it's the front runner who has the target on his back. Instead, it's been McCain and Romney who've been sniping. And I thought what was interesting about last night was McCain really was kind of on the hot seat about immigration, and he very forcefully defended the bill that's on the floor of the Senate. Giuliani called it a typical Washington mess. It's just a big compromise. Of course, that's what McCain says is what you're sent to Washington to do.
You've followed Romney's campaign with some fascination. How did you think he came out?
Well, I think Romney comes out fine. I don't think he necessarily hurt himself. I do think that he has yet to develop a kind of intellectually coherent position on the immigration bill, something that he supported a more lenient version of last time it was up. Now that it's gotten more draconian, he's decided it's amnesty. But last night he said, for instance, that the answer to the problem of the 12 million illegals in the country is to merely enforce the current law. The fact that it's not being enforced or can't be is why we have this new legislation in the Senate now.
Yeah, the whole idea that Romney is not going to basically try to force out 12 million people is simply ridiculous. Look, I don't see how you can look at these debates and not gain an admiration for John McCain. I mean, he was the truth teller about the war in Iraq. I mean, he said that the Bush policy was not working against what his own president. He's backed up the Bush surge, and now on immigration, he is not giving an inch. He believes in comprehensive solution, which I think is the only sailing against the wind. And Rudy Giuliani, you know, once upon a time was one of the most pro-immigration mayors in the country. He refused to allow the New York Police Department to go pick up people on the basis of their illegal immigration status. Romney was pro-immigration at one time too. Now that the base is furious at so-called amnesty, they flipped. McCain is not.
All right, let's talk for a minute about the decision made by Giuliani, then followed by McCain, to skip the Iowa straw poll. Now, the Iowa straw poll obviously sounds like small potatoes, but it has been a turning point in the early season for a couple of cycles now, and there's been a place where candidates got weeded out. Does this thing now become meaningless because two of those guys are out of it?
Weeded out. It allows somebody who's not a top-tier candidate to really shine. Remember, Pat Robertson won in 1988, won the straw poll. And look, I think Giuliani and McCain did the right thing. They realized that no matter how many people they got in there, Romney was going to bust in a lot more and was going to win the thing.
Yeah, it's about money. I mean,
so Romney, so this concedes the Iowa straw poll to Romney.
I think it effectively does, and of course, it at the same time, Giuliani and McCain hope undercuts its importance.
Does any development that we're looking at now, this debate, the straw poll, does anything seem likely to winnow some of the people out of this field? I mean, it doesn't appear that people like Jim Gilmore or Tommy Thompson or Ron Paul are making any real inroads here.
No, it doesn't.
And maybe they are, but it's hard to see it.
At some point, they have to decide whether this is really worth it for all of them to keep, plodding on when they don't get out of below 5 in the polls. I mean, Tommy Thompson is banking, by the way, on being able to invite in a whole bunch of motorcycle enthusiast
he's
from Wisconsin.
One of them, yeah.
He is.
He didn't look like it, but that's what he is.
Yes, I know. For the Iowa caucus, he is a smart guy.
I'll tell you what's going to winnow the field. When some debate sponsor says, if you are not above X% in the polls, you're not on the stage, I think that will be
but until then,
it's not.
These debates are free. You have to pay for ads on TV, but the debates are free, and you get a big audience.
One other point here, I think that what's being set up here is a decisive general election issue over the idea of going to war with Iran. All the Republican candidates last night seemed to think it was just fine to use tactical nuclear weapons against an Iranian.
They said they wouldn't take it off the table.
Okay,
but
what debate were you watching?
They won't take it off the table.
No, they won't take it. But believe me, you know that the Democrats don't want to go to war with Iran.
Yeah,
they want to stop
rifles on the table.